Hello and welcome to session 2 of Hearts of Wulin, Numberless Secrets. This is a Hearts of Wulin game that borrows a little bit from Brindlewood Bay and takes from shows like Ancient Detective and Maiden Holmes, where we combine up the mystery tradition with the wuxia tradition. This is actually very classic in wuxia literature. There's a whole tradition actually dating back to ancient times, sort of a parallel justice judge literature. And then Gulong, one of the three pillars of wuxia literature, wrote a whole series of mystery novels with a particular character who, and it been a bunch of movies remade with them. If you've ever seen The Duel, that's taken from that. A Pursuit of Vengeance. There are a whole bunch of these. The Butterfly Murders, not the Butterfly Murders. But there's a bunch of them, and I kind of adore them. We'll get to who our characters are, who our investigators are, before we get too much further. My name is Lowell. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the designer, co-designer of this. And the game hopefully should be out in PDF form on drive-through any day now, once we get the hard copies in process to people. So very excited to have that happen. This session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about this whole thing at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have our Gauntlet Community Open Gaming coming up at the end of June, which is a free online game con that anybody can sign up for. It's intended to bring new players in and show people how to play online if you haven't done it before. Maybe you play some indie games you haven't played before. I might put a Hearts of Wulin session on the calendar for it. I haven't decided what games I'm going to run for that, but we will figure that out. Again, gauntlet-rpg.com to find out all about these things. So without too much further ado, we are going to reintroduce our characters, and we are going to work left to right across our character sheet here. Last time Tyler had to go first, so we move over one click, and we're going to be starting with Patrick tonight on the introductions.
What treachery!
I know. I try to keep that in mind so nobody gets stuck in the hot seat every time. Patrick, please tell us who you are and tell us about your character.
So hi, I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I am playing Song Da, also he, him. He's the aware playbook with the historian type, and he is a member of the Bureau of Legends, a society of historians who travel throughout the Wulin world, watching and gathering reports of the various martial masters as they have their adventures and make their way through their encounters in the Wulin world, keeping a detailed record of everything that goes on so that the glory and truth and heroism and bravery and just general excitement of all these wonderful people won't be lost to history. Let's see, he was raised in a fairly well-known martial family and has been around the sort of like fighting styles all of his life, but has never been super comfortable with engaging in violence himself. So it was sort of a disappointment when he left his family's fighting school to go and join the Bureau of Legends, which has sworn to keep itself out of any sort of conflict so that they may stay neutral and be welcomed anywhere. Let's see, he is fairly young, simple dark silks, like simple styling, but very expensive fabrics, that sort of thing. And he has a super cool, like, half glasses monocle thing, which I was just very drawn to in the picture. My entanglements, my romantic entanglement is that I love Iron Lotus, the persona that Jamie's character is putting on. But my senior sister Lucian and the rest of the Bureau believe that they serve a dark force. And my general entanglement is that Indigo Judgment, the clan leader of the Bureau of Legends, has told me to spy on my comrade, Blue Mountain Scholar, because there's something strange about their activity recently.
And in fact, that sort of kicks off where we started with you last time, with you being sent to pursue Blue Mountain Scholar, who was invited to a big event.
Yep. I have my historian move, which is determines how well or poorly I'm received by people who are interested in how they're recorded in the histories. I have my storm rider move, where I can use his one really skillful martial arts ability, which is that he's very good at the lightness moves, at running up walls, at making great leaps, at standing on things that couldn't support him. And Phoenix Flying in the Sky, where through messengers, birds, hidden signs, and signals, I can communicate with the network of historians and other people that I've met in the world.
Excellent. That then brings us to the person you are investigating, Blue Mountain Scholar.
Yes, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Blue Mountain Scholar, or more correctly, I'm playing his grandniece, Lost Song Janai, who is impersonating Blue Mountain Scholar. Blue Mountain Scholar needed to go and investigate the disappearance of his dearest friend, and instead sent his apprentice, his grandniece, Lost Song Janai, in his place, gave her his seal, his blades, and essentially his second best clothes for every occasion. So she looks a lot like him, of course, because disguises work in wuxia. So I am in good shape for that. But yeah, I go around as an old man, and then every once in a while, when there's time and there could be plausibly something where Janai would be out, perhaps you would be her that you would interact with, acting to help her uncle. But for the most part, she is him. And because she's carrying his blades, no one doubts it, at least so far. Let's see. She is a loyal, and because of her grand uncle's station, she's considered an official. So that means that she can call upon magistrates or the whatever faction is sort of in charge of law in any given area and ask for assistance, because they have that reputation, and they carry that all of the accoutrements of that station. So yes. And I also have the move that is a Heaven's Sword and Dragon Saber, which is about those blades being recognizable. And because I'm from Blue Mountain Sect, I took the move Legend of the Mountain, which allows me to defend people in a situation. So that is what I have. Blue Mountain Scholar is considered a scholar and a detective for the Blue Mountain Sect, which is what he is part of. And entanglements. Yeah, entanglements. I promised Song Da, who I do know, who I have been introduced before, that I would assist in his wooing of Iron Lotus. But unfortunately, it's a little uncomfortable for me, because here I am in the guise of my great uncle, and I've sort of fallen for Iron Lotus myself. So I assume that Song Da actually knows Lost Song Janai, doesn't realize Lost Song Janai is her granduncle.
Cool. It's just good to work out
exactly.
all these disguises and stuff.
Exactly. It's very complicated.
but Blue Mountain Scholar has agreed to help.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. And your general?
Yes. My general one is that I learned that my friend Bao Shi has been betrayed by their teacher, Many Gifted Yahoo, but they will never believe me if I tell them. So I have to figure out how to help them.
Excellent. That brings us to Iron Lotus.
Yeah, so my name is Jamie. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm playing Iron Lotus, who also uses he, they pronouns. And so, but the truth is, I am secretly Golden Peony because Golden Peony and Iron Lotus are twins, but Iron Lotus got caught up in this conspiracy that's going on. I'm playing the unorthodox playbook in masculine guys instead of in human guys for this game. And yeah, so Golden Peony is searching for their twin brother, had to take on his identity in order to investigate what's really going on. They're of the Broken Circle faction, all these others who are victims of the conspiracy in some way. And let's see. Their style is 8 petals across the water. Their main element is of metal. Their weapons are the flute, and it appears that they're just using the flute, but they're really, it's knowledge or chi points that they sneakily go in and like poke at. And let's see, in terms of their moves, they have, because of my masculine guys, I have it's a little easier for me to use hearts and minds to enhance misunderstandings with people. I'm also very good at changing my physical appearance because of painted skin. I can do so instantly by grabbing things. I have done the sneaky jammy trick of not saying what my next move is going to be until it's important. So it comes up. It's my favorite way of playing Hearts of Wulin. So I feel it's more conducive compared to other PbtA games where I try to do that. Their entanglements are, the romantic one is Songda and I have growing feelings for each other, but he thinks I'm my brother. And I recently discovered that Rising Phoenix has always had feelings for my true self. I had no idea. This very tall, pretty warrior lady. And my general is that Ninth Raven suspects I'm not who I say I am and threatens to tell my friend Baoshi, who will not understand why I deceived him. And I'm also like Baoshi's like General Watson to their Sherlock, like servant to the master, who does my best to help my master reach his epiphanies as much as possible. But yeah, so that's Iron Lotus.
Excellent. And then last but not least, Bao Shi.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I am playing Bao Shi, who also has he, him pronouns. And I am playing the eccentric expert. And indeed, Bao is, at least in his mind, the greatest of all investigators, a detective's detective. I have the moves of eccentric expert, which allows me in, when it's not one of the primary, our big mystery or conspiracy, I can try to solve side mysteries in the most casual and easy kind of Sherlocky sort of way. I also have the love on delivery. When I attempt to manipulate the affections of an NPC towards another, I make a roll and try to fix people up. I think that probably is a part of my seeing what's best, and I've already determined what's the proper person for you sort of thing. And I have Tracing Shadow, which allows me to look at the web of connections other people have. My entanglements, my romantic is I love Guard Captain Lin, who I've known all of my life, but Magistrate Delon continually reminds them of my youthful indiscretions. And my general is I found out that Lost Songs and I has hidden their true identity from everyone because of their past with Blue Mountain Sentinel. I believe that kind of in that romantic, we've discussed that Magistrate Delon thinks maybe a bit of my Lestrade if we're carrying over the Sherlock Holmes. She doesn't think that I'm a particularly good influence, hates my interference, And there may be a justifiable view that I am a bit of a busybody and maybe think myself a bit more clever than I actually am. And with Iron Lotus, I have a feeling that Iron Lotus probably is the brighter of the duo of us. And it's Iron Lotus who points out the things to make sure that Bao really can make the connections through.
Excellent. So that brings us to the tale that we are involved in. Last time, Blue Mountain Scholar, or as Sherry has written it, Blue Scholar, in your naming thing, Blue Mountain Scholar was approached by a servant of a man named Sun Guanyu. He is the chief of his school, of his house, which is simply the Sun School. And you were invited to come after dark to his estate for a gathering. The implication being that you would be hosted that night and stay over, that kind of thing. And it was suggested that the host, Sun Guanyu, wished to speak with you about a matter, a case of some kind. Song Da, who had been watching Blue Mountain Scholar, decided to follow and set out. And Song Da did such a good job that they were watching Blue Mountain Scholar so intently that they didn't notice a shadowy figure who was watching them and rushed forward, apparently to inform about Song Da's arrival. On the road, our Blue Mountain Scholar met Mao Qing, an older swordswoman who certainly fell in with Blue Mountain Scholar's gait. She is certainly trying to hide any wounds or infirmities or age, to not show weakness in this, but she may well be past her prime in that sort of theatrical way. And they have been walking and talking, Song Da following. In the same way, Bao Shi and Iron Lotus were contacted by another servant of this man, Sun Guanyu, who invited both of you to attend after dark at this gathering, though didn't give a reason, though Bao Shi did deduce that he must have some sort of case or something that he's interested in. That would be a reason I'm going to go. You gather yourselves together. Before you left, though, Iron Lotus checked in with her cadres, with their cadre, to see what was going on, if they could find out any information. However, their hideout had been raided, and it had in fact been raided by our magistrate, but also the Blue Mountain Sentinel. And so Iron Lotus carefully intervened and created some potential discord between the two of them, some suspicion there. On the road, the pair found a carter with some oxen and a load in the back. And it was at that point, this cart had gone off the road. It was at that point that Bao Shi revealed the tale of the hidden raccoon that had sent the ox off of the road. And even as that was happening, Iron Lotus peeked in to see that there were coffins within, and found out that in fact this gentleman had been hired to bring these 4 coffins to the house of Sun Guanyu this evening before dark, and he offered to transport the two of you to make your journey somewhat easier. And so I think that's where we kind of hard frame forward a little with the lanterns and the estate off just ahead. You can see that it is very well decorated. This is a beautiful, large, sprawling grounds, multiple buildings. You know, they clearly have a school here. I mean, you're guessing there must be 100, you know, 120 people, you know, within the walls of this place, including servants and students and all of that kind of thing. It's the kind of place that, you know, that out back they have a graveyard and they have a gazebo and they have a little pond and all of that. They undoubtedly have a small river that runs nearby or runs through that kind of beautiful place. And I think that there is that moment when Blue Mountain Scholar, you and Mao Ching hear the sound of a cart coming, even as you've grown closer to, I mean, it's just a short distance to the household, but you kind of pause to step aside to allow the cart to pass. Songda is still kind of in the shadows nearby, but can easily pop out whenever they will. But you'll be surprised, Blue Mountain Scholar, to see Bao Shi and Iron Lotus also perched on the front of this cart with this carter and this enormous ill-tempered ox who is taking a generally relaxed pace as they're going along. And Iron Lotus, Bao Shi, you will see Blue Mountain Scholar and a woman that you may or may not know.
And I think Blue Mountain Scholar will raise his hand and sort of wave to you, and also give a sort of bow of respect to the young detectives as they go by.
Carter will kind of stop when it's clear that that you know one another.
Thank you, good sir. I greatly appreciate you providing us this transport. Iron, it would seem that we have a friend on the road as well.
Yes, master. Truly, this is a auspicious sign of some kind, I say as I bow towards Blue Mountain Scholar, most respectfully.
I wouldn't mind hearing a bit of what brings the old man along.
As you
might
get
give
down,
a clue.
the carter says, I must hurry forward. I must hurry forward. Be sure to tell him about the raccoon.
Master Blue Mountain, what brings you out here to the hinterlands?
Young Boasty, it is good to see you. You too are going to see the House of Sun then this evening.
Yes, we were invited for this little soiree.
Yes, so I too and my companion Maushi. Is it Mao King?
Mao Ching.
Mao Ching. Okay, sorry. Like it's
She
Mao
nods to the two of you.
This is Bao Shi, and you name your house and sect, and this is Iron Lotus. And again, I don't know if we'll name your house. I don't know if you'll name your sect. So
Let me ask you this, Iron Lotus. How famous is your brother?
Yeah, I think he's actually quite famous. He definitely has a mixed reputation.
Yeah, so you will see Mao Ching, you know, because it like straightens up her stance when she hears your name, and she will say, Iron Lotus, I have heard your name before.
And I think as the introductions are going on there, and when Blue Mountain Scholar introduces Bao Shi, there's just this like gasp and rustle of moving branches at the side of the road, and then like very still. Maybe they didn't hear me.
let's see here. Could I turn and say and Song Da, and I'll sort of turn through. Oh, he was there just a moment ago. And turn back.
Yes. Hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Just I couldn't help but overhear. Is that Are you Mr. Bao, the great detective, Mr. Bao, the Bao Shi?
Well, yes, I am. You are Song Da?
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, of course. Master Bao Shi, I just those are the scroll cases, aren't they? Your wooden scroll cases,
Knowledge is our defense.
filled with all the great cases that you've solved, all the mysteries that you've unraveled. I never thought that I would have the chance. Personally, I've read, of course, so much about you. Oh my.
Of course. Please, you may call me Bao.
Mao Ching interrupts. You're a detective?
Yes, of some small reputation, as you can see.
What? A detective of small reputation. This is the great Bao Shi. He solved the case of the 9 houses of the Pearl Roofs. Surely you've heard.
I don't have much interest in detectives.
Oh, I see.
Then, perhaps we should continue on to the house of our host.
Yes, let us. The temperature has definitely dropped several degrees.
And you will, I guess Blue Mountain Scholar would say, why don't you younger ones go on ahead? I will follow.
Well, great master, I feel it would be terribly rude to leave you on your own. Are you sure?
On the contrary, I would feel compelled to hurry some, and I'm likely to miss my footing. Please go on ahead.
Very well. Iron, shall we?
Of course, Master Bao Shi, allow me. And I sort of like look towards this new person who doesn't like Master Bao Shi. I feel like this is not a common occurrence.
No.
Yeah.
Not until after they had time to talk with them.
Yeah, because usually the reputation is enough to
They don't sour on him until later.
not so much. Yeah, at least a few minutes. But yeah. So I make sure to like bring Master Bao Shi ahead.
And
Song Da will happily follow after them, completely forgetting any thought of mission or observation or anything like that.
Mao Ching will kind of move to keep pace, maybe 30 feet behind. Just keeping a respectful distance.
And that's my thing is Blue Mountain Scholar will be like, oh, let's not rush. Let them go on ahead. He sort of stops and says Song Da was following us for some amount of time, so this little distraction was a good chance to get him caught up with everyone.
She does go. It seems unusual that the historian was walking off the road.
Oh, not at all. It sort of stops. The historians are always trying to get what is the way that you put it? A unvarnished version of the truth that they will later varnish. So they like to overhear and then choose what to say, as is my impression. I have, of course, not been in their presence that often.
Definitely, like the arms are crossed now.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of closed up, kind of a little more defensive.
And I do think Blue Mountain Scholar will stop and say, did I say anything scandalous? Can you remember?
I don't remember you saying anything scandalous except for your poetry.
Oh, well, I think I just misremembered a line.
We will hope that was it.
Yes.
The group of you will arrive at these gates, and you will see that there are 2 other people that are kind of have just arrived, gotten off horseback. They must have come from a secondary road. You will see a gentleman, 2 gentlemen that are clearly a little more, maybe look more high Wulin society, that have perhaps met on the road and traveled together and are chatting amicably. One of them is dressed nicely, and the other one is dressed like silver pearl reflectively, like the clothing is made to kind of catch the light in every bit and way, shape, or form. And they will take a look at your group, and they kind of, mark that you're on foot. And you will see the gates open, and a gentleman come out and greets them, and you will hear him greet these two as Master Starry Garden and King of Pearls. And he bows to the more glittery one when he says that. And they nod, both clearly Wulin, swords at their side, real classic. And this gentleman will turn and will say, "Ah, and the others have arrived. You must be Master Bao Shi."
Yes, indeed. My companion, Iron Lotus. And
I would recognize Iron Lotus anywhere. It has been some years.
Indeed, it has. And I pray that we will not have to wait years again.
That is
an
my
event.
hope as well. And he clearly doesn't know who Song Da is, and
I'll introduce Song Da. I'll be like, if I may, this is a most esteemed historian, Song Da, who I have the pleasure of introducing to you.
Song Da, when he turns to you as if to say, "Give me your explanation."
Greeting, honored sir. Of course, I am here from the Bureau of Legends to record the auspicious occasion here, the meeting of so many masters of the Wulin world. Well, it cannot go unnoted.
My master has set this party up for a select gathering of guests.
Well, yes, that's of course why I'm here. The selection of the gathering is far too good to pass up. Surely your master would not want this amazing group of people to go unnoticed, his hospitality and kindness and opulence to go unrecorded.
Let's have you roll hearts and minds.
Let's see. I think this is water.
Okay.
I think this is the awareness to sort of worm my way in past his rigid defenses. Into that and roll. Oh, starting off strong with a 4.
So I think that you're going to mark the element you rolled with. And what it is King of Pearl steps forward and says, "These historian fops are no business. You can just send him off to sit with the servants. He'll sit in the corner and write things down. Just let him in. Really inconsequential."
Ooh, I take out my little pad and pull my ink brush from my belt case and begin furiously writing as he starts saying that.
And it garners laughter from people around. And Yellow Shadow Hunter will kind of nod. He clearly hesitates, but there are other people to be taken care of. And now that you've been publicly humiliated, he's like, "Yes, of course, you with Bao Shi, you can come in, certainly." And he will turn, Blue Mountain Scholar.
he sort of stops. He says, "Ah, good," and he does that sort of very clearly recalling the name old man thing. So yeah, that is, and Yellow Shadow Hunter. Of course, it has been some time, and he bows.
We are well met here, and Mao Ching, we're glad that you could attend. And she kind of starts to say something, and then she stops. She goes, kind of nods and acknowledges. Clearly, didn't say what she was going to say. And he says, "Please, if all of you will come into the halls here." And he says, "I am the first disciple of the Sun School. I will bring you in. I'll have servants tend to the horses, and we will get all of you settled in very, very quickly. We've prepared a gathering. We have 3,000 jugs of the most finest wine here at the Sun School, and we'll open many of those casks to treat our honored guests this evening. And hopefully for the next few days." And he will gesture, and you notice that King of Pearls and certainly Starry Garden, like, they walk in front of you, and certainly take the lead right behind Yellow Shadow Hunter, and walk in with that kind of bravado and confidence that says that they know that they own the room.
We heard of these people?
Well, that would be a study roll.
All right. Let's see then. Let's see. What will I roll with? This feels to me like wisdom. This will be water, I suppose.
Okay.
So rolling 2d6, it'll be +1. That's a 12.
That is a 12. So this is, we're doing a general investigation here, but we look at the study moves. So on a 12 plus, you may gain a clue and choose two options from the list below. So we don't have necessarily, clues aren't in play because we haven't got the mystery in. So basically, you're going to get two options from the list below, essentially two hold. Or if you want to declare a conspiracy thread, you could spend one of those holds to do that. And what is a conspiracy thread? These are the signs, the shadows that point towards the bigger picture that's going on. And you could put one of those on the table that we would add in to frame what the conspiracy is about. Or you can do the standard two hold for asking questions or making declarations about these fine fellows.
Okay. Let me first ask a question, and I think this King of Pearls, I think's the one that, clearly the highest station, therefore probably the most interesting. What are their motivations? What is the King of Pearls all about there?
Based on reading him now, or based on what you know of him?
I think I've heard of them. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you would know that the King of Pearls comes from essentially the Bejeweled Swordsman School. And he is sort of the heir of that school. And it is a school that has a reputation for luxury and indulgence and wealth. And that has perhaps started as a kind of a noble school, but has fallen in the last couple of decades into more disrepute. Not that they're bad, they're just the newest students are a little more questionable in their morals and lines, as let's say.
All right, then I think I would like to do the conspiracy thread.
Okay, what do you want as the thread here?
That I've heard, and this is me declaring, correct?
Yeah.
I've heard that that the King of Pearls is actually all the way up to his bejeweled top knot in debt.
Okay.
And that he is desperately searching for someone to bail him out.
So now we know that the King of Pearls has at least some connection, or the conspiracy is connected with him. Pearls desperately in debt, and that it's strange that he would be called here. You know, for this, you know that about him. He's certainly hiding it well. Why would he be called here? Surely someone who knew would know. This is a little strange to you. So you will be brought forward into a large open area. You know, this is the outer courtyard with the pillars and the leaf, you know, the cherry blossoms on the grounds, and small tables set up with wine and servants moving around. And you will see a number of other Wulin there. A monk kind of off by himself. A couple of young women who are there, who are moving around, who are clearly also invited guests. And then another woman who clearly is dressed very sloppily and has a wine jug in her hand, and is sort of continually pouring and slurping drinks back as this is going on. And Yellow Shadow Hunter will turn and will say, honored guests, may I present, and he goes through and announces each of you. And then he says, points to the white monk and says, this is the white monk. Points to one of the women who looks a little more martial, and says, this is Cheng Rogong. And then the one that's a little more slight, and this is First Orchid, and this is Undaunted Zedong, master of the Drunken Sword. Say, if all of you would attend to yourselves for a short time, servants will be bringing out wine and such. I will go and tell my master that everyone is assembled. Iron Lotus, what do you do when you're kind of now left to your own devices out here in this group of people?
Yeah, I'm going to say that I've been looking for my contacts in this place to see if there is anything I can learn, because I'm going to use shadow boxing.
Ooh.
I'll say like that's and in particular, I think they tend to be the servants in a place. So as they move back and forth, like to bring out the wine and everything and make sure everything is ready, I'm going to try to see if like I can get information from one of them.
Sure. Let's have you roll shadow boxing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think on my behalf, like what they've done in particular is like go over the guest list, because I was very we cut back to when Master Baoshi and I got the invitations and how suspicious it was. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I think I'm amazing.
What are you rolling with?
Yeah. Being conspiracy like, so probably I think metal makes sense. But metal is mine. That's okay. I have confidence. This is gonna work out just fine. It'll be okay. So that's the +2. This website is not okay. +2. Okay, rolling. That was a 6. I'm gonna burn some bonds.
So, which of your bonds? Oh, I think you only have one left right now, don't you?
I do. It's Sonda.
Do you want to spend that bond?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll spend it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and spend the bond. And I'll say like the reason why I almost missed it is because I've been distracted ever since someone talked badly to Sonda. I've been like looking at him and unable to completely focus like, on the task at hand.
And I think there'll be that thing where one of the servants does something of the hand gesture and you'll kind of glide off to the side and to get, ask for some particular tea or something like that. And say, the master of the house has been very circumspect about the invitation list. There's something going on here, very unusual. Some of these people I know were in the employ of the master some years ago. Not perhaps others were, I'm uncertain. He's had us on the, observing, and we're to report in on if we see anything unusual from any of the guests. I think he perhaps suspects that someone who is coming is not who they say they are.
And I'm thinking, is that me? Without knowing about Blue Mountain Scholar. Yeah, and I said, you've done well. And I want to make sure that no one suspects this particular servant. So I make a show of this wine isn't of the correct temperature for Master Baoshi. You must attend to it immediately. Master Baoshi, I apologize.
I will go bow and go away. What about you, Blue Mountain Scholar? You're dropped in a room with a lot of interesting people in an interesting place. Oh, that old man voice is just so quiet.
Ah, yes. That's the thing. I have to make sure I've got my quaver all ready before I speak. That's what it is. Yeah, I think he is extremely polite, and he sort of looks the room over and looks to Mao Xing, and he says, "You have been kind to be my companion on this walk. If you wish to sit with me, I would very much like that, but I understand if you are tired of this old man's company."
There are people I must speak with.
Yes, very well, I understand. Thank you for the company.
And you will see her walk over towards Starry Garden and kind of gets herself in front of him in a way that he can't really kind of back off, and they have a conversation.
Right. I guess that would be an excellent thing to study at this moment, since she has been...
A study roll from you?
I know. It's going to be a disaster. We know that that's just how it goes, right? So
Absolutely.
Yes, and I think that I've been walking with her for some amount of time, so I've gotten to a little bit that I know about her. So I will try metal, I think, at this point for the idea of calculation and reflection on what's going on. So I'm rolling 2d6 and adding 1.
There you go.
Yeah. So I rolled 5, I add 1, that's a 6. I could try to succeed at this. So let's see here. Why don't I just blow up?
Well, you're observing the room, correct?
Right.
Is it possible for me to
I think you're trying to listen in that conversation, or you're reading the room?
I'm reading that conversation. So,
okay, then.
Yeah. So if that made sense.
Okay, I don't know then that I could come to help that in particular.
But you could, because you are on another part of the room, so I could be crossing over to go have a conversation with you that would allow me to get a different view of what's going on and how the other people around it are reacting. So I will spend my bond with you. And, you will see.
So you have 1 hold. Do you want to declare what you hear, or shall I tell you what you hear?
I hear what you say I hear. And
Okay.
then, because I will declare once I get the.
Oh, you want the basic info, and then you want to make your declaration, is what you're saying to me?
Maybe you'll just give me something
here's
so
what
delicious.
I'll tell you the first thing you hear, and then you can tell me whether you want me to continue on or whether you want to say what comes next.
All right.
She comes forward and she says, "What are you doing here? I thought we agreed."
Oh yeah, I have to hear the rest of that.
And he says, "You're the one who invited me." I did no such thing. And he's like, "No, I have a letter. I recognized your hand." And she looks around, like clearly now more suspicious. And then she says, "Be careful." And she gestures at Baoshi. That one is a detective.
Excellent.
Does that sound like fair info?
That's great info. Thank you so much.
Okay. Song Da. Oh, how do you restore your honor, your presence in this room?
I think I'm a little shaken at the moment. All these people, I'm just sort of like, my eyes are following King of Pearls as he goes around the room and sort of, I imagine, social butterflies a bit.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just imagining that every conversation is just starting off with, "Oh, do you see the dirty scholar in the corner? Oh, we should laugh and make fun of him. He's awful, and his whole family is awful, and his whole bureau is awful." So I think actually sort of sticking to the people I know, and also still not having gotten quite over the meeting of such a famous celebrity, I am going to follow Baoshi, and I was like, if you would permit me, just I don't mean to take up too much of your time.
Quite all right.
I was wondering, I've heard so many stories, but none of the Bureau was in the area. Can you tell me the details of the death of the Shrieking Viper? I've heard so many rumors, but to hear it from your lips.
Well, I am always excited to tell of mysteries solved, but it is quite a long tale. I can give you a very quick synopsis, I suppose, but if you would like, perhaps when we leave, you can accompany Iron and I as we travel back to town. I would be more than happy to regale you with whatever little bits. The Bureau, I feel, has been quite deficient in telling most of the wondrous things that Iron and I have been doing.
Oh yes, Mr. Bao. I've told all of my comrades. I say you should follow Bao Shi. You should find out what he's up to. You should look into the mysteries that he is following, because of course they are the most engaging and mysterious of the mysteries.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Well, then let us figure that that when we travel together, you may learn, and you may ask any of your questions to put down for posterity.
Oh yes, wonderful, wonderful. But you did say you had some small details to drop about the shrieking viper, and his notebook is out, and his little quill, his brush is there. He's just ready to start writing as soon as you talk.
Well, yes, of course. And I think I'll notice Blue Mountain moving towards me. Well, I'm afraid I really should speak with an old friend first, but I promise I will. Worry not. I will get back to you in just a few moments.
Oh, yes, of course. You have very important things to be about. I'm so sorry for taking up your time. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
No. I am very happy to have a historian so interested. It is, quite worthy what I've been doing for history to record.
Of course. Master Bao Shi, I would be happy to take over and discuss things with the historian in the meantime.
Iron is so much better at this than I am anyway. I mean, it sounds a bit like bragging when I do it.
And Song Da, they're right there, right next to you, like kind of didn't even realize they'd come up. There is Iron Lotus, just right close. You can feel the heat of him, so close by at your elbow.
And it's sort of like Song hasn't even managed to notice that Iron Lotus was there this whole time, like even walking up to the thing. He's been so distracted by Mr. Bao. He'll sort of blush and turn and say, Iron Lotus, of course, I'm so sorry. I got distracted and well, you know how my mouth gets away from me sometimes. I should have greeted you immediately.
No, I am but a pale shadow to the brilliant light of my master. I understand, Songda. It is quite easy to be distracted, but I have had my eyes on you, and I apologize that you were treated so poorly. It makes my heart ache.
Some of the nobility do not understand the importance of the work that we do at the Bureau, but I know that you would never make that mistake. It warms my heart that you and Mr. Bao are so generous in your opinions of the Bureau of Legends.
Of course, you're very important to me. I mean, to us. You're very important to the historians as a whole, not just you. Very important, yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, the name of the Bureau is, of course, the most important thing. I am but an unimportant cog. You should barely even consider me a person. I'm simply here to record what I see, what I hear.
But perhaps we can get you to relax first, so it would be easier to record. Say a drink shared between two close friends.
Yes, I did hear there were quite a few jugs of wine to go through. It would be a shame if our host had bought all of those for nothing. We should help him out.
Of course, we should sample what we can, give our feedback.
Yes, it will make a wonderful start to the record of the grand gathering here. A rundown, a review of the amazing wines that he has brought to bear for his guests.
Blue Mountain Scholar, you kind of are stepping over, and then you see Song Da and Iron Lotus. They are talking intimately. Wine is grabbed, poured there. Could I please have you roll inner conflict now? Old man voice.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to help. But, okay. So let's see here. 2d6, and I guess I'm rolling with. Let's see. What's my sappy? confused. Why am I doing this? This is so stupid. Stat. Let's see here. Oh gosh. Let's just go with flexibility. Like, I'm going to try to breathe through this, right?
Okay.
My great uncle would not appreciate me making a fool of him. Let's see. So I'm adding 1. Ooh. So 6. So that's a 9.
It's a 9.
It's 9.
So-
It's not horrible. I have to choose one bad thing, but not
Do you
both
want
bad
to
things.
mark an element? Do you want to retreat, or do you want to overreact?
Let's see here. Oh, I almost like the idea that I should come up and be overly jolly about all of this, that we're all together, and
Kind of
sit
shatter
myself-
the intimate relationship.
exactly, without really realizing it, like wanting to encourage it, and then all of a sudden it's just there. So, yes.
So suddenly Blue Mountain Scholar is up, also grabbing wine, and was kind of the more sedate old man, and now much more sort of jolly and let's all drink and be friends kind of thing.
Oh, Master, it's so good to of you to join us.
So you should tell us about your trip on the road, and I will tell you what I have seen. This seems a fair thing for people who like to observe what's going on. Yes.
And I think, again, in that sort of way of like realizing that, oh, right, there are other people that I should be paying attention to. There's this very like sharp narrowing of the eyes as Blue Mountain Scholar starts speaking, as Sangda slowly sips his wine, watches. Yes, what have you seen on the road recently, Master?
And that is when the doors come open and you will see people come forward, and you'll see from the end of the hall a gentleman in the most elaborate robes comes forward, and he is flanked by a young man and woman who look like they're close to the same age. Yellow Shadow Hunter is kind of at the front, but then kind of steps off to the side. Servants are flanking them, and he's got a kind of a jolly face, kind of a little bit of scruffy beard, some gray in it. And he says, "Oh, greetings, my guests. I am Sun Guan Yu. Welcome to the House of Sun. You are most welcome. I am so glad that everyone got and accepted my invitations, and I look forward to what this evening brings. So you are all welcome here. We will begin festivities in a moment. We have a banquet set up, but now let us. He kind of reaches out and picks up wine and kind of gestures for everyone to drink. And he says, "Now let us drink to this gathering of friends." And he drinks and let us drink to the Brotherhood of Wulin. And then he kind of raises up his dish again, and you will hear from Undaunted Zedong, "Let us drink to Fei Dian of the Green Leaf Society. Is this not the anniversary of his death? Shouldn't we drink to him too? Your former brother, comrade, friend who died?" And it gets quiet. And he says, "Well then, yes, let us also drink to Fei Dian."
I'll look over at Iron. Awkward.
Master, of course, as always, you are here to discern the most subtle of things. I am most impressed.
Well, let us enter the hall and begin this gathering, and he will turn and gesture, and everyone will begin to follow him. And I think that's a good place for us to take 10, and then we will continue on. So we cut to the banquet hall. Each of you and all of these guests, each of you are given a little table in front of you with like yellow cloth draped over it. And what, you know, there's a jug of wine there for you, beautiful plates laid out for you. You're all like all these little tables, and then each of you with a, you know, a chair behind it, kind of across from one another. And at the end is Sun Guan Yu at a kind of a raised area. He's introduced as his son and daughter there, but beside him, and the servants are going around, and you kind of spread out. So let's start this. Bao Shi, who is closest to your left, to your right of the NPCs that you want to talk to?
Let's see here. Looking at the NPCs. I think that sitting close to me is the white monk.
He's been given rice, very simple meal in front of him. No meat, only some cooked vegetables and so on. And you know, he bows and prays before he eats. And you kind of turn to him. How do you open your conversation with him?
Greetings, Reverend One.
Greetings to you. You are Bao Shi, are you not?
That is correct. What, if I might ask, I am surprised to see someone of such devotion amongst people who seem to be more concerned with the material than the spiritual.
Buddha moves us in many, many different ways. When we travel in different circles, I was invited, and I decided to attend upon. And perhaps it is my fate to help some of the people who have given into their desires to find a new path in these ways of things.
Are you long acquainted with Master Sun?
I know him of passing.
Well, to have been invited, one must imagine that he holds you in great esteem.
That would be too much for me to hope or imagine. He is a great man, head of a great school.
Yes. Many students he has. I imagine that he has provided true legends over the years.
That is what I would say, yes.
Well, rather a surprise to have such an unpleasant memory brought up during the toasting.
Let's lean into here now. We've got a couple of ways you can do this conversation here. You've got study, but you also have a particular move.
I do. Yeah, I think I'm attempting here to do by tracing shadow.
Okay.
So this is probably curiosity, or is it calculation? I'm going to go with calculation. This is me trying to figure out how this is going.
Okay.
So rolling with metal. That's a 9.
That is a 9. So let's look at that move. So on a 7 to 9, do you want to stick with the 9, or do you want to spend a bond?
Let's see. What bonds do I have that works well in this? I think I'm gonna stick with the 7 to 9.
Okay. So you will realize that this is not a real monk. It's the small pork fat stain on the sleeve, the little bits there that say to you, it's not the way that the beads are weighted clearly as a weapon, maybe even a hidden knife or something like that. And you definitely see him like he's uncomfortable here, and he is clearly, when he looks at your host, Sun Guan Yu, and he is clearly indebted in some way to Sun Guan Yu, because otherwise he would not be here, because he knows some of the other people here. He does not want to be in their company, and he has clearly been leaned on to be here.
Mm.
That seem like a good set of info?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Blue Mountain Scholar, who are you seated next to you that you wish to converse with?
I like to think that I have managed to seat myself between the lovely First Orchid and the lovely Cheng Rao.
And are you doing your full on
yes, I am
lecherous?
Blue Mountain Scholar. I am not so much lecherous as I am being a charming old man in that way that they should be well warned that I will, once with enough wine, turn to the lecherous mode. But yes, that is who I am. I am harmless because I am so predictable. So.
And which one are you flirting with right now?
I think Cheng Rao Gong seems to be the better sport of them at this point. A First Orchid seems a little stiff yet.
Yeah.
I have encouraged her to have more wine.
Cheng Rao Gong, a classic straight sword at her side. And she's a little bit older clearly than she looks, and she's clearly a Wulin. And what's your gambit for this conversation?
Gambit is well, she has that short. She has that sword. And so yes, I've had enough wine that I would have to ask her about her sword. Of course, because of course mine are very notable, so it is easy for me to impress someone. So when she politely asks about my own, I can impress her.
Yeah, it's a blade of no consequence.
I find that hard to believe in the hands of one so beautiful. Certainly, you will be the one that makes it a blade of consequence then.
I hope I make it a blade of consequence through my skill and not through my beauty.
That can be one and the same.
Well, that would be a different profession, would it not?
I don't think so. There is nothing more beautiful than a swordswoman of high skill.
Well said, Uncle.
Yes, I am excellent at these things.
So you say.
Yeah. And I will chat with her, like I said, fairly harmless because I'm so easy to see coming.
Do you want to study?
I do. I want to see who she's watching and what her concerns seem to be, because I'm not one of them. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
All right. So I will study and I will use. Let's see here. I think I'll go with water. That just seems sensible. So +1, rolling 2d6 and adding +1.
Let's have you
so
roll.
It just gives me an 8.
Gives you an 8. So you have one hold that you could essentially ask a question, declare something, find out scale.
Why don't you give me the basics then?
She's a swordswoman, clearly trying to look nondescript.
Okay. I think And I think that is when I realize, because of course I have access to all of my uncle's scrolls and his knowledge of the martial world, that I actually do recognize her sword. And I know that it used to belong to a swordsman. Let's see here. A swordsman named, let's see here. Songbird Rao.
Okay.
Everything's named Song. I think that's a theme here,
Okay.
by the way.
Sure.
Use it a lot. So, yeah. And I sort of.
Well, I will tell you something about what you know about this is that this is
Okay.
not an ordinary sword, but it is not an auspicious sword. You know that it is a sword filled with tricks, hidden knives, breakaway blades, spinning things. I mean, it is a blade for those who wish to fight with deception.
Oh, interesting. All right. So I say I do not make any indication that I recognize it, merely that I hope that I will get to see her blade sing. That will be my only little poke to her.
She says, well, if you keep talking that way, perhaps you will.
And I laugh because it couldn't possibly mean anything like that.
And she laughs as well. Hear that? Ha, ha, ha. Iron Lotus. Who are you seated close by that you wish to talk to?
Yeah, I'm seated close to Mao King, who has a problem with detectives. I would like to know more.
So she's seated there. She's a little more stiff than other people. She's clearly, like a couple of other people, keeping an eye on the room. But eventually she'll turn to you and she will say, so what has brought you here, Iron Lotus?
Well, I'm here to take care of my master, first and foremost. And I apologize. It seems that you and the master do not get along too well. If there's anything I could do on his behalf.
No, it's not him, it's his profession. And I will admit, given what I know of your reputation, I'm somewhat surprised that you would fall in with a detective.
Of course, it's just like a cut to Golden Peony, like trying to figure out what's going on. I think that you would understand that I am dedicated to finding whatever is useful to me in order to achieve shared goals with others.
So he may be a detective, but he may not know everything about you.
Oh, sorry, I missed the first part.
He said he may be a detective, but he may not know everything about you.
Of course, as much as I care for the master, there are certain things about me that would be difficult for him to understand. I'm sure that you catch my meaning.
I do. Let's have you roll study. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the place we're going to.
Yeah, I'm trying to go into this conspiratorial leaning and hopefully she'll reveal something. Okay, so I think, which element is this? I think I'm being coy. So I think that's more like, yeah, I feel like it's water. Okay, so rolling, say +2. I just need to refresh the room again. Rolling Bloop. Ooh, 9, not bad. So I get 1 hold.
So you will definitely see that her eyes definitely, though she tries to avoid it, go to Sun Guan Yu. Like she's the person who she's kind of watching, but trying not to be seen watching, kind of thing. So what's your question or what's your declaration?
And I think, I can't resist a good declaration. I'm going to say that I catch him looking back at her and I recognize the look the 2 ex-lovers share.
100%. And I think there is that moment when you see her expression just change slightly as she looks over at Sun Yang and then looks away, perhaps with some regret.
And I think I say, come, I know that my skill of conversation is not the best, but I hope I can offer some distraction.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've been on the road today and listening to that old man's rambling, lascivious poetry was somewhat wearing.
Yes, yes. I have not had the opportunity to spend too much time listening to such poetry, but come, let us forget.
You're a
and
man,
pray
so you luckily won't have to be subject to that.
Right, of course, as a man, that is true. I have quite a lot of privilege I am grateful for, I say.
Bravo.
And my voice is deepening a bit.
Song Da, who are you seated next to? We've got two on either side. Like who do you want to talk to?
I think it sort of feels like Undaunted Zidong has some things she wants to get off her chest. So I think Da is seated next to her, and he'll turn to her and say, "By your stance and the strength of your form, you can only be the fabled Undaunted Zidong, yes?"
Well, I must be, because that's what they called me a while back in front of you. So I don't think it's necessarily your book that told you, but perhaps your ears.
Well, I was just trying to find a polite way by introduction. I am.
You pour me a drink. That's how you do that. She holds, even though she has her own wine jug there, she holds out the bowl to you for you to pour some of your wine into her bowl.
I, of course, have read many of your stories back at the Bureau of Legends, and I would like to make my historian move to sort of get a tenor for this conversation.
Absolutely.
I think this is fire. I think this is his passion for the stories and meeting the great heroes in person. I rolled twice as good this time, which gets me all the way up to a 6.
Do you want to spend a bond?
Let me look at my outcomes. You know, I feel like I already have someone looking down on me for my position, and I would like a juicy secret. So, I have a bond with Iron Lotus.
Can I assist him, because I'm feeling guilty about kind of interrupting his conversation with Iron Lotus, and since I was supposed to be helping him.
I like that rationale. Let's have you roll. Maybe you
Okay.
could dig the hole deeper.
Yeah, that's my hope. It only makes sense.
It's
Yes,
also
yes.
mine.
Yeah, I know. And you know the dice are more likely to go with your idea than my own.
If this roller keeps up, we will create a different room for next time. I'm going to tell you that
Okay.
right now.
All right. So I'm going to use metal because of reflection. On reflection, I really botched that last bit and I should try to make it up to him. So 2d6 plus 1. Ooh. No, but it's still 7.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah, you can create a bond and kind of put that
Pop it
in
to him.
there. Kind
I'll
of,
give him the thumbs up when he's talking. I see him kind of looking around nervously. I mouth something that.
and there'll be this loud sound, this as she speaks her chair over closer to you.
I will helpfully lean in as she apparently wants a more intimate conversation.
There is a bouquet that is coming off of her that is. She says, yes. It's the secret of my success.
Yes, a secret, well-kept secret.
I don't think it's particularly well kept, but one should
Oh,
restrict
goodness.
one's bathing to a monthly time, because otherwise one loses one's essential oils, and that is important.
Yes, I see that the secret to your power is
It's in the
basking
cups
in
and the
those
basking. That's the
oils.
basting, the basking. Yes. So, historian, what is it? What can I tell you? What kind of tale do you want to know?
I must admit, I am intrigued by the rather tense interaction between you and Master Sun earlier. I believe you spoke of a Fey Dion, which is
Who does not know
strange
the
because
story? Yeah.
it's strange because I've not read this name in any of the histories.
No,
I
of
know
course you
nothing of-
have. He was the leader of the Wulin world 15 years ago, until he and his 3 disciples were cut down in the night. And she's saying this very loudly. Cut down, murdered in the night. And it was just chaos throughout the world. But some lucky few landed on their feet. I always land on my feet, but I'm talking in a metaphorical way. That they landed on their feet, and despite all the chaos, they did very well for themselves. But I will tell you something that perhaps some have heard, that Fei Dion's child was not killed, escaped that night. And certainly he would be of age now to take revenge on those who killed his father and those who killed his father's acolytes, if all of them were killed.
Are you saying the Greenleaf Scion is still out there, alive?
Yes, he would be about the age of you and your friends. Or her.
Oh.
You and Iron Lotus, Bao Shi, maybe even the age of our pretty little girl over there. First Orchid, maybe. Could be the age of them. Who knows?
I can assure you, Iron Lotus and I are very close friends, and I know he would have shared such an intimate secret with me had he been hiding.
Well, I'm just saying. Just saying.
You know much of the martial world. I would speak to you more.
Come tonight to my room, then.
Oh, well, that would, of course,
we
I
can
mean,
speak privately. I can tell you more stories that'll
well,
make
would
your
that be,
hair curl.
would that, appropriate, would that, oh my, well,
Look, I would take my monthly bath for you. I'll do that right after all of this.
well, for me, you wouldn't need to, but perhaps afterwards, yes, if you have more information to share.
Yes, as I said, come to my room and we will talk.
Talk for the historical record, strictly, of course.
Right.
Yes. Oh, you seem to have caught something in your eye there.
Oh, no, I was winking.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
And the evening will continue on. And he will eventually, you will see your host stand up and say, by the way, I'm going to pause here. I have not gone over what the lines and veils are. So I'm going to pause right now and go over them because we start to hit into a sexy flirty time stuff there. So let's make sure we're all on the same page. I meant to do this right at the start and then we kept going. Dental horror is a line. Homophobia is a line. Sexual assault is a line. Torture is a line. We have veils on graphic gore, harm to animals, spiders, and suicide. And then we have ask firsts for mind control, PC betrayal, and sexual content. So those are on the table. That's a living document. So if there's anything else that you want to add in, feel free to do that. And we'll check in on that. Sun Guanyu stands and he says, I want to thank all of you for coming. Some of you I know, and he gestures in a way that takes in the monk, that takes in Mao Ching, that takes in the King of Pearls, and some of you are new guests and so on. And I've called all of you here because you're all great thinkers and members of the Wulin world, and I've come to tell you that I believe that someone plans to kill me. In recent weeks, members of my household, students, have gone missing. In recent weeks, sabotage has occurred in various farm fields and so on. And here now, as we come to the anniversary of the death of Fei Dian, I believe those who killed Fei Dian to disrupt the world of the Wulin 15 years ago, I believe that they plan to kill me as a means of disrupting today's Wulin world. I have been a pillar of stability, and I think that they resent that. So I have brought a number of famed detectives, Bao Shi and Bao Shi's noble assistant, Iron Lotus, as well as a Blue Mountain scholar and the notable First Orchid, a diplomat of sorts, but someone who can find her way through problems. And she kind of nods, smiles politely, like she's not entirely pleased by that description of her. But she does nod. And she says, my son and daughter do not necessarily believe that this is what is happening, but they have agreed to this gathering, and we will spend this weekend together, and we will see what comes of it. And he will look at everyone and say, well, I will retire now, and I will speak with some of you tomorrow to fill you in on the details. In the meantime, drink. Servants have been set to provide you with everything that you could require, and will take you to your rooms. Of course, baths and other needs have been attended to for whatever you should require. The House of Sun is generous to its guests, so thank you all, and we will speak tomorrow. And he rises and bows, and the others all kind of, raise their cups and bow, and he will head out. You notice that his son starts to get up, and he kind of gestures for his son to stay, and he has his daughter escort him out. Yellow Shadow Hunter will follow in their wake. And then once he's gone, they sort of, hubbub, what's this about? Blah, 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 blah. And you can see that sort of the first person to get up, clearly uncomfortable with the whole conversation, is Mao Ching, who says, "It has been a long day. I must retire to my chambers." And she rises and goes, and there's some silence, and then some more drinking, and then other people start to also notably rise and head off to their rooms, kind of thing. You notice that there's less conversation with Iron Lotus, Blue Mountain Scholar, and Bao Shi after the announcement of this. That will go on until it is essentially the four of you and Sun Yang,
First Orchid leaves?
First Orchid leaves as well, yes.
Oh, really? I'm
Yes.
disappointed. I had hoped to have a conversation with our other fellows.
You kind of turn to talk to her, and she's
Yes.
already rising, like she's already had enough of talking with you, Blue Mountain Scholar. But Sun Yang will say, we'll move down to off of the dais down to one of the lower tables close by, and we'll say, I apologize for my father. He has seen shadows moving threateningly for the last year or two.
Do you know what prompted that?
I think he grows old. I think he looks back to the old days, and he worries about how his legacy will be held together. He has nothing to worry about.
So you do not believe that there is, in fact, this plot against him?
No, I believe that this is the simple workings of the Wulin world. Students travel on the road. They are challenged. They fall. These things happen, or they travel and do not send word back. That can be explained. And the losses, the livestock and other things is simple. Inattention on the part of the servants, and that just calls for more whippings to put things back in order.
So you don't find there to be any pattern other than lots of other people messing up?
True. Yeah, I would say that. Yes.
That is a most valuable perspective that we will take into account, young master.
He seems pleased that you acknowledge his brains. You have the sense that that is perhaps not a thing he hears.
And yeah, I think I'm gonna use my hearts and minds to create or enhance misunderstandings between people.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, perhaps, and it would pain me to suggest such a thing, but
Mhm.
it can be difficult for children to truly earn the counsel of their parents. Perhaps there is something your father is keeping from you that would give you a different perspective.
Let's have you roll.
And I think, yeah, I'm being manipulative. So, yeah, definitely feels like metal again. Okay, so rolling. Ooh, an 8.
An 8. So.
Oh,
let's
and
see.
well, it's a 9. Oh, I had a, anyway, it's okay.
Ooh, with a 9,
Ooh, yeah.
maybe I can give a little comfort and support on this.
Sure.
Sure.
Kind of. You see Iron Lotus there, certainly manipulating this gentleman a little bit. You kind of play into that.
Yeah, we have a certain way of dealing with folks, and I think I recognize when Iron's working someone. I kind of give a. It is so often the way of parents and children to not really recognize the worth of a child. And so I'll roll with. I think it's awareness. I'm catching on to this. So, ooh, that's a 12.
He's like, yes, he could be keeping something from me. He certainly never shares counsel with me. You will excuse me. The servants will see to your needs should you require anything. But I have matters I must attend to.
Of course, and we will not keep you from them,
Oh,
young
yes.
master.
Thank you for those words. And he heads out. And the four of you have a chance to speak kind of in a little more privacy here.
I'll move over to Blue Mountain Scholar. Master Blue Mountain.
Get that eye roll that is just, you don't actually see the eye roll. You can just see the head doing the eye roll.
I was, I admit, I was a little surprised to see you on the road. I almost wondered if you were lost, my old friend.
Oh, not I. I had an invitation as well. And a strange one, since I was traveling without much notice.
And I think that you catch it by wording a little bit of a pointed there with the lost my old friend.
Mhm.
So we are to, do you think, prevent this murder? Or do you think we are here to solve it?
Oh, I will be amazed if our host is still alive in the morning. Let's put it that way. With all of the drama. We definitely will at least be able to solve it, right? But I would like to prevent it. What do you think that we would need to do, Baoshi?
Unless our host intends to completely sacrifice themselves, and that does not immediately strike me as the sort of man he is, then my guess is he has as good a protection around him as, well, as can be provided. I don't wish to say that we are not capable, but I don't know if we could prevent it in a physical manner better than his own guards.
Correct. Unless he allowed us to act as his guards.
I did notice that our monk friend is probably not quite as enlightened as perhaps he is letting on.
Yes. And Lady Mao and Starry Garden know each other. Mhm. Starry Garden thought that Mao was the one that had invited him. So there are multiple levels of manipulation going on here. A lot of these people don't want to be here.
Sogda, I noticed you speaking to the rather exceptional swords lady that made such a scene at our welcome.
Yes, I am surprised you caught so quiet and personal an interaction between us.
Yes, it was difficult to not hear the attraction and intimacy. And there's like a edginess. Iron Lotus's voice.
No, I think that's a lot of inner conflict coming from Iron Lotus.
Mark XP and roll.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a struggle for control. So, metal. That's a 2. I got a 2. Well, I got a 3, but it was -1, so I got a 2.
So why don't you mark XP
Again?
for the inner conflict?
Oh, okay. Just let's catch it.
And then why don't you mark that element?
Yeah.
And what is it that you say or react to that gives away to Blue Mountain Scholar that you're here following them, watching them, maybe a little like a little protestations about why you're here, and that's not the reason. I was sent here to follow.
Yeah.
What kind of thing?
I think it is. It's the well, of course, that's not my concern at all. I wouldn't be that sort of personal fraternization. No, of course, I'm here on orders to find out the odd behavior of anyone important that might be acting strangely, but no one in particular. Just a general sort of broad order. By order, of course, I mean suggestion, really just a passing interest in people that might be odd. Not that I've seen anyone acting odd here.
Blue Mountain just appears to be drinking and not getting any of what's going on here. And they say, oh, shouldn't bother the young man. Clearly, she was in her cups. Things happen, strange conversations, nothing to take from it.
Of course, nothing of note to take from any of this.
And I think Iron Lotus will say, I see. I will not distract you further from your important guidelines. I'm sorry for taking up your time.
I mean,
Master
guidelines
Baoshi,
feel
I will
strong.
go ahead and retire.
Well,
Well, if you'd like, Iron, of course. Um, good evening. I will see you tomorrow.
and of course, if you will excuse me, I have an appointment to keep. He says, confused and disappointed in himself with being unable to come up with anything better.
Oh, yes, you wouldn't want to be late, of course.
No, of course. I shall have to leave here now and go to there. Now? Gives one last look, hoping that someone might save him before he turns and begins awkwardly walking out of the room towards Undaunted Zedong's room.
Which I believe just leaves Blue Mountain Scholar and Bao Shi here.
Yeah, at which point I sort of turn around and go, well, that escalated quickly.
Yes, I was rather surprised. Iron is usually much more of a night owl than that.
Seems a little upset.
Really, you think so?
Just my first guess, but I am no specialist, as you know.
Well, I suppose he's had some. Well, it wasn't exactly Iron's sort of party, I suppose. I'm just glad he came. I always feel better when Iron's about.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I saw the garden. There are some nice go boards out there. We can get a lantern. We can find ourselves a view of the master's windows. Not that we can prevent anything, but maybe if something happens, we will see the moment when it does, and perhaps we'll see someone coming and going.
I think that's a very good idea. A man
I'll
who
bring the
invites.
wine.
Feel free. A man who invites some of his greatest enemies to dine often finds it is a last supper.
Should write that down. Too bad Sangdao is not here.
Oh, I'll have to remember it. I'll see it again tomorrow.
Okay. I'll remind you.
Oh, thank you.
And I think yes.
Oh, I have one thing I would like to do, if it's
Please,
okay.
please.
So as Iron Lotus is leaving, there is these different shots of, once again, Iron Lotus like changing out different parts of their outfit until they're made to look like exactly like one of the guards, and they take their place outside of the master's room.
And I think we'll have, as you are headed to the master's room, I think as Blue Mountain and Bao Shi are kind of headed in their way, I think that we will hear a shriek. We will hear a shriek, and we will, suddenly lights and lanterns are lit and people are running and guards and so on. And we will see rushing, and there's shouting back and forth. You come out, everyone is that you see, and they will kind of, seems to be some hubbub there at the shrine at the back of the estate, and you'll see people now running that way. You will follow, and you'll see that it comes to the shrine and the funerary markers, and in fact you'll see the great funerary marker for Faye Dion, the hero, is here. And you will also see laying there the headless body of Sun Guan Yu. And you will look around and you realize that his son is nowhere to be found.
Blue Mountain, it would seem he got his just desserts.
was a terrible pun.
And I think that's where we're stopping, since we're pretty close to the hour mark. I think it's a good place for us to hold up. We will give everybody 3 XP, entanglements and everything else aside. I think 3 XP for that. Does that seem fair?
So, do you get an XP for a failure?
You get an XP for rolling inner conflict.
Okay. So many versions.
And so now we have a murder, which means we have a mystery, which means we have clues, which we can lean into next time. Does that sound okay? Now, Jemmy, you won't be here next time, right?
Oh no, I'll be here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, I could remember what your schedule was like with the Forge in the Dark. And Patrick Tyler, we'll get with Stephen Watkins and figure out a makeup time for the other game that we missed. We were supposed to play last
week.
time, but
Oh,
I
no.
got sick.
No, I got sick.
Oh, she got sick. I've been sick so much, I couldn't tell which of us got sick. Seriously.
I don't get sick very
Oh,
often,
no.
but I got sick that night.
I'm going to stop recording here.